May I speak and may you hear in the name of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Before I moved to Baton Rouge, almost 2 years ago, I was a priest in the Diocese of Hawaii. During my time there in the islands, I had the chance to know just a little bit about the rich culture there. It's a melting pot of traditions and cultures, a diverse and complicated place. And so beyond the glitz and the glamour of Waikiki that you might think of, or maybe the transcendent beauty of the ocean, beaches and mountains, it's the traditions of the Hawaiian people that I found to be Hawaii's richest gift. Today I'm wearing a face mask made by the church women of Hawaii. And it's made out of a print called palaka. This pattern has a rich history. It's a customary print of the plantation workers who came together from various nations to work on the sugar cane fields and later in rows of pineapples. The fabric is a hardy one that was able to endure the long days of hot work outdoors. Over time it became a symbol of ohana, the Hawaiian word for family. To wear a palaka shirt, or now a palaka mask, symbolizes that you're a part of a unit, a loving relational community, and that you would work hard and be committed to loving action for the peace and well-being of others. Friends, the readings this morning invite us to reflect on our place in the larger human family, our commitment that we've made as children of God to serve the world God has made and God called very good. In the letter to the Romans reading, we are reminded that we receive a spirit of adoption, that we're no longer to live according to the flesh, Paul says. And this morning we'll take a look briefly at the common English Bible translations of the word flesh, and examine how this helps us ground our understanding of our relationship with others. In that harsh-sounding parable, particularly at the end, in the Gospel according to Matthew, we're reminded of Jesus' ability to cut to the chase through story and analogy. We're given the opportunity to consider once again whether our words and our actions are really in sync. When it comes to this section of the letter to the Romans, in the New Revised Standard Version, the translation which we heard this morning, the words offer a rendering of the original Greek which has seemed to me always a little bit esoteric and disconnected. That's because, of course, Paul's writing and thinking are shaped by Greek philosophy. The Common English Bible is a fresh translation published in 2015, increasingly recognized for its clear phrasing of English which honors original manuscripts. And so we heard this morning in our NRSV version, "So then, brothers and sisters, we are debtors not to the flesh to live according to the flesh, for if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live." Now listen to the same verses from the Common English Bible. "So then, brothers and sisters, we have an obligation, but it isn't an obligation to ourselves to live ourselves on the basis of selfishness. If you live on the basis of selfishness, you are going to die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the actions of the body, you will live." It's the words obligation and selfishness that really stand out to me, together with the natural phrasing of the Common English Bible. It starts to come alive again. Paul is saying, we don't have an obligation to ourselves to live on the basis of selfishness. For we are now children of God who live in a new way, live by God's Spirit. So it's through the life of God that we can finally put aside the selfishness literally the bondage of our imperfect human flesh. That Greek word flesh, to borrow again from the NRSV, that flesh which keeps us enslaved. This selfishness is no more evident to me than when folks refuse to wear a mask. I'm so glad we have a chance to model helpful, life-giving behavior for others this morning. And when others don't wear a mask, it leads inevitably to those in the medical profession not just wearing a mask for an hour like we are today, but masks and face shields and other protective equipment hour after hour, night after night, day after day, just to keep others alive. And so, as I'm sure you all know, we have an obligation, a debt to others in our human family to wear a mask and keep others safe. I saw on Facebook this week from Captain Sully Sullenberger, of course the committed Air Force pilot, later commercial aviator who saved 155 people on US Airways Flight 1549 in 2009. He described it in this way: in protecting each other's health, we protect our own. We owe these little gifts of civic virtue to each other. In today's gospel, Jesus offers a parable that really may sound blunt to our 21st century ears. But it's a parable after all, and so we're to take this message of allegorical story seriously, but not literally. The parable at its core is really about divine grace and God's abundant patience. A God who allows the weeds to grow up along with the wheat, so that, God willing, over time, the weeds may become wheat. Operating in behind this parable are the words of Jesus back in chapter 7, verse 25. That chapter set up one of the driving forces behind Jesus' teaching in the Gospel of Matthew. You might remember there, it's the parable of the house built on rock or sand. And those who build their house on rock are those who hear the words of Jesus and act on them. They're not just hearers, but doers. And so, today, Jesus calls out a mixed state of the church. The church is a mix of those with good intentions, but no action. Of those who praise Jesus as Lord with their lips, but don't always follow Jesus' ethical teaching in their lives. The world, of course, is the same. Yet the parable reminds us that in God's love, God is found to be, in the words of today's psalm, gracious, full of compassion, slow to anger, and full of kindness and truth. While the Palaka print of the Hawaiian people reminds us of the hard work that was accomplished when folks of different backgrounds and cultures came together as one, it also reminds me of the richness that can be found in the most simple of things. Far from some fancy floral aloha print, the Palaka grid is a symbol of tradition and family, which is solid and dependable. As we continue to wear our mask as a commitment to the whole human family, let us continue for the grace of God to be patient with us and to bless us. In this time of uncertainty and change, let us remember the call to always live in and into the Spirit of God, the Spirit which calls us away from the obligation of selfishness, leads us into an obligation of freedom. Freedom not just for ourselves, but for all those God has made and said, very good.